Hi everybody, I'm Chris Gabbitas, Artistic Director of the Phoenix Chorale, and I'm here with our Mezzo-Soprano Holly Sheppard, who is singing the solo in this series performance of Aaron Copland's masterpiece, In the Beginning. And we thought we'd share a few of our views on this piece with you. Now, I knew when I joined the chorale that the ensemble had performed this piece before, in fact, just over 10 years ago, with Holly as the soloist, because I went through all the programs from the last 20 years or so to see what kind of rep the ensemble did and make sure I wasn't repeating things, but also make sure that I brought back some favourites. And this was a piece that when I spoke to audience members and members of the ensemble, there was a clamouring to hear it again. And I love masterpieces. I love pieces which for me really define their genre. They can define a composer's work, a composer's output, they can define an era, a country, a nation, a state of mind, or a concept. And we want to highlight in one programme each year a piece which is truly groundbreaking and which really defines its epoch and its era. And this time we were thwarted by COVID, but no longer. We're presenting for you, for your delectation and enjoyment, In the Beginning, which is Copland's setting of the whole of the first chapter and some of the second chapter of the book of Genesis. And it's a familiar story. It's the creation story, how God put the world together in the first 7 days of its existence. And as its narrator, we have a mezzo-soprano soloist. And that's where you come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been so excited to sing this piece again. It's been, like you said, over 10 years. I feel like I always wanted to have another opportunity to do this one again, so I am thrilled. And it's amazing how quickly it came back, muscle memory and everything, because it is a challenging piece, but it's so fun and it's so satisfying to sing. I've been thrilled, and well, since we were supposed to do this a year ago, been very much looking forward to finally being able to bring this to audiences again.
Well, Copland wrote the piece in the early 1950s for a symposium in Harvard, and it was just after the Second World War, and I don't know if this is the case, but I wonder whether this was his way of saying to the world, we need to start again, we need to go back to the beginning, and we need to see that we can do things better. And I think part of the reason I believe that is that he was originally asked to write the piece in Hebrew, but he chose to set it to the English text so it would appeal to and reach more people. And we all know the story, but what Copland does so brilliantly is using his unique harmonic language. He plays off the narrative which the mezzo-soprano soloist provides with the sort of the chorus idea that's provided by the rest of the singers, and he uses various dynamic techniques to get us through the exposition of each day, and then the declamation at the end of each sort of sentence of, and it was so, this is what God did. It's normally unison, it's a very, very strong sense of writing. But he also goes into a really reflective mood at some points in time. And there's a lot of word painting which really channels the energy within that particular section of text and translates it wonderfully into music. He speaks about lights shining and flashing across the stage with the different voice parts. There's a lot of chromaticism in your part, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
There's
absolutely, yeah. There's some challenging intervals, areas where I'll pick a note. That it feels like I'm grabbing a note out of nowhere. But fans of Copland will also still hear those kind of open fifths chords. There's some moments that are like clearly a Copland kind of sound, but then this really is more unusual when people hear it for the first time. If they're like, oh, I know Copland, and then they hear this, it's fun and different.
And he's so clever with his use of harmony. It starts in a particular tonality, and the piece goes up a half step with each day as it passes. And then at the end, we have this epic sort of Charlton Heston-esque moment. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished. And you can almost see,
that part.
It's great.
So
you can almost see Charlton Heston as Moses coming down the mountain with the tablets. And then it declines by half steps until the end. So there's a real progression. You're coming up this momentous creation event. And then at the end, we subside back into humanity. And we enjoy where we are, and we have this sense of relief. It's 16 minutes long. It feels 16 minutes long when you're singing it, but when you're listening to it, it feels very, very, very manageable and very, very short. Yeah. It's so accessible, and the passion that we can bring to it will really translate, we hope. So we very much hope you're going to enjoy coming and listening and watching to our performance of Aaron Copland's In the Beginning, featuring as our mezzo soloist, Holly Sheppard.